3-1 against Leicester in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. It was a good performance for the most part, I thought. Let's get straight in to the match review from yesterday. I think that when I walked into the stadium yesterday, you could really feel the kind of tense atmosphere that was building up within the stadium. It seemed really subdued, not many fans singing. It seemed like a really nervy and a lot of tension in the air in terms of if Spurs were going to get the result. Obviously, it was a massive game in terms of the top four race. And I think that when the game started, Spurs actually came out the blocks quite fast and we were moving the ball quickly. It looked like we were there and we had a bit of a point to prove. But then I don't know what happened, but something in that first half happened and we kind of decided, well, not decided, but Leicester seemed to gain a bit of control in that first half. And again, in that first half, we weren't creating too many chances. I mean, I know we scored with the Sonny corner and Kane was basically completely free in the 6-yard box to head home. But what do you think that was in the first half where we kind of gave up a bit of that control?
I think there was just some residue sloppiness from the past two performances, I felt. We did come out strong without really creating any chances. We were definitely being a bit more aggressive. But then once Leicester got a foothold in the game, we started to take our foot off the gas. We were allowing them possession. We were Harry, every time the ball was going to Harry Kane, he couldn't make it stick. He lost
the ball like 5 or 6 times in a row yesterday.
Yeah, he was having a bit of a shocker early doors, Harry Kane. And off the ball, we just seemed a bit lethargic again. There was that moment Samare breezes past Davis, and I think it was Sonny on the right-hand side, cuts it back to Daka, and if it wasn't for an unbelievable fingertip save from Lloris, we're 1-0 down. Leicester were getting a lot of joy. Ben Davis gives the ball away in his own defensive third, and Albright nearly squares it to Daka again, and we get away with that one. Perez was getting in all sorts of spaces. We were just a bit lethargic, I felt. And then it was almost as if the goal we scored woke us up a bit. I did think in general the first half performance was a bit lackluster, even though we went 1-0 up. I didn't think, even after the goal, I didn't think we were that great. And Leicester will probably feel like, did they deserve to go 1-0 down at the break? I don't think they deserve to be winning, but I don't think we would deserve to be 1-0 up at the break. I think it was quite an even game.
0-0 would probably be like a fair result from that first half.
Yeah, and I think both teams were not really that on it, especially considering our past two results and performances. You're expecting a lot better. But then come the second half, I think after 55 minutes, he had seen enough of Lucas Moura, who I thought was having a horrific game.
Yeah.
Everything, I described him as a trampoline before, and I think he took it to new heights this game. Everything was bouncing off him. He couldn't make anything stick. He couldn't hurt Leicester whatsoever. And as soon as we brought Decky on, it was like Decky raised the level of the whole team, not just himself. Immediately he went on that mazy run, didn't he, into the penalty area where he just slipped at the wrong moment. And from that moment on, we dominated, and it was all Tottenham pretty much from now. And then it's like that element of sharpness came back into our play as soon as Decky came on. It was like I don't know what he triggered in the team, but we seemed to all of a sudden have crisp passing. We seemed to add that aggression back into our play, which was obviously, you can see that with the second goal we scored. Romero, those two challenges he put in, adding that aggression to our play. Then Decky adds that quality in the final third that we were missing completely without him on the pitch, and we went on to win it quite comfortably at the end.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that when Kulu came on, he just completely grabbed that game by the scruff of the neck and took it to Leicester, where nobody else was really doing that on the pitch yesterday. There were so many moments yesterday. Obviously, he got those 2 assists. There was that moment on the right-hand side, just on the flank, right on the byline, where he takes it past the man, and obviously the move broke down a bit later on, but he was just doing some unbelievable things on that pitch yesterday that just no one was going. He literally just came on and said, look, this game is mine. I'm taking this game literally by the scruff of the neck, and he won that game for us yesterday, Decky, and he completely changed the game. Him and Romero, I thought, were absolutely brilliant. Obviously, Heung-min Son, I mean, that third goal, it was like one of those shots on FIFA, you know, when you just get it in the corner, quick finesse over the top, and it lands in the top corner, and with his weaker foot as well. I mean, does he even have a weaker foot?
No, I don't think he does. I think he's over half of his goals this season, even though he's got 19. I think 11 of them, have been with his left foot. He got his first goal with his left foot.
To strike it like that.
He's done it before.
I know he's done it before
with his left foot.
It's
like
unbelievable to see, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure he's done it against Leicester, on his left foot like that. He's so ambidextrous. We've said it before. Like, you don't know which way he's going to go. And there was an unbelievable strike right into the top corner. No chance for Schmeichel as well to get anywhere near it. It was a world-class finish from Sonny. And I think we ended the game probably a bit sloppily because, we conceded. It was Winks, I think, got caught out for the goal. Bergwijn could have got closer as well. Wasn't a great goal to concede, but look, the game was done by then anyway. And I think it wasn't a vintage display, but I think overall we probably deserved the victory in the end. We had 7 shots on target, which, more than we had in past 2 games combined, so that was a much more positive. But I did get the feeling like Leicester, as soon as we went 2-0, they just gave up. Like, they didn't really have it in them to try themselves back in the game, and they probably as soon as that second goal went in, I felt like they started thinking about midweek. Like, it felt like their mind was on other things.
Yeah, which is understandable as well.
Pulled out that challenge, for that second goal, like Romero. And was going full-blooded. Yeah, Sionchu didn't really want it, did he?
And Romero, I mean, that encapsulated his game yesterday. For that second goal, both those challenges, absolutely brilliant, aggressive challenges, and he was head and shoulders above anyone on that pitch for the majority of that 90 minutes. I thought he was absolutely breathtaking yesterday, Cuti Romero. He really was, and those 2 challenges set the tone. Kulusevski gets the ball, checks inside, squares it to Heung-min Son, and Heung-min Son checks on his other foot and finishes it in the reverse corner. So I thought it was an unbelievable goal, to be honest, and Kulusevski and Romero are completely central to that. And that's what happens when you've got kind of players like that pretty much can win you the game. And it's so good to see like that Lucas Moura wasn't having a good game, and we have someone on the bench that can come on and completely swing the game, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. And
it was interesting that I think everyone was worried about before the game, like, it was our main problem. You know what I mean? Like, everyone was saying, what we doing starting Lucas? Like, Lucas hasn't been good for a while. Kulusevski, I know he's had a couple of bad games, but no one really wanted to see him drop.
I could understand it though.
Yeah, but I don't know whether it's an admission of him being wrong, but he didn't even last an hour, did he?
Yeah, but I can understand it because Kulu, ever since he's come into the club, right, he's played every single game pretty much, and he hasn't had a rest, and he haven't had 2 good performances in the last couple of games, 2 bad performances, pretty much non-existent. So I think it was the right decision from Conte. I don't know if it was the right decision to start Moura. Maybe I would have started Bergwijn, but obviously Conte doesn't like Bergwijn in that position. So he started Moura. And yeah, Moura wasn't good, and Kulu came on and completely changed the game. And he looked much more fresher when he came on the pitch. And maybe that bit of that 45 minutes of rest maybe did him good yesterday.
Yeah, you could argue that. And he definitely did look a lot sharper when he came on the pitch. I still think there's a lot of, not him personally, but I think in the team performance, there's still a lot to improve on, even from yesterday, if we're going to get anything on the weekend at Anfield, because that's a massive game now. But I think at least we got out the funk of not having shots on target. We looked a bit more creative when we were going forward. Second half especially, we were on top and we were dominant. But especially in the first half, I felt like we hadn't gotten over how we've been playing recently, which was a bit annoying. But I think by the end of it we did, and hopefully we go into Saturday full of confidence. But look, Arsenal won their game, so it's a massive game now against Liverpool. Unfortunately, with Arsenal winning, that's quite a big blow, because in reality now, if we assume that Arsenal, look, obviously there's no guarantee they're going to beat Leeds, but if we assume they are going to beat Leeds, we have to win. A draw's not even good enough, really, in that game. We kind of have to win, because, if we fail to beat Liverpool and Arsenal win, they could seal it at our ground, and that would be horrific.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So they're 2 points above us now.
Yeah. If they win and we don't,
yeah,
and then they beat us, then it's over.
Oh, and they beat us, yeah.
Then they can seal it at our ground, which would be horrific. But we need to go into that North London derby with the situation being, if we beat them, we go above them. I think it's so important we do that. And it's looking,
there's opportunities after that.
There is looking unlikely.
They go to Newcastle away straight after we play them.
They got Newcastle and Everton, so it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for them. I'm not saying guaranteed wins, but the way they've just got over the line in the last few games tells me like they have it in them to do it, and that's the problem.
I actually
That's
think
what I'm worried
Arsenal's games from now until the end of the season are quite difficult, in my opinion. I think Leeds are a team that are playing well at the moment. They're on good form, and they're really getting sucked into this relegation.
They just lose 4-0.
They did, but before that they were kind of playing well, and they're scrapping for their lives now. That result on the weekend has put them in real danger. Especially with Everton winning and Burnley winning on the weekend.
Yeah, they're right back in it.
They're right back in it, so they're going to be scrapping for their lives this weekend. So that's not an easy game for Arsenal. I'm telling you that now. That's not an easy game. Obviously, then they got to come to us, which is not going to be an easy game for them. Then they got to go away to Newcastle as well, which is also not an easy game. That's 3 difficult games on the bounce for Arsenal. I'm not sure if they're going to pick up maximum points in them.
I just hate not being in control of the situation, and I feel we give up even more control with a loss to Liverpool. If we beat Liverpool, it's in our everything technically still in our control. But I don't consider it being in our hands when we go to when we have Liverpool to play, because for me, because people always talk about it's in our hands and this kind of stuff, but I see it in our hands as it's up to us. If we do our part, then top 4 is in our hands. But the problem is for me is that Liverpool are that good. They're one of the best teams, not just like in the league right now, but you could argue one of the best Premier League teams of all time. This is what we're up against on Saturday. Obviously, we've shown we can get results against big teams already this season, so you can't rule it out. But the thing is, we could be our best on Saturday. We could be our very best, give our maximum, and can still lose because Liverpool are that good. So in a way, we kind of need Liverpool to drop their performance a bit if we're going to get all 3, if we're going to get something at Anfield. So in that sense, we are relying on Liverpool a bit. So I don't see it being in our hands to win on Saturday. That's why I don't consider it on our hands.
It's not on our hands, but it doesn't mean it's beyond all realms of possibility. I think that
it's not. It's not. We've shown against City, we beat them.
Not even the Liverpool game, but even if we lose to Liverpool, I still think there's a chance there for us. I really do. I think you got the North London derby, you got the game after where we got Burnley at home, which won't be an easy game as well. That's not a give me game either. So we got Burnley at home, and they got to go away to Newcastle. I think there are going to be twists and turns still in this race. I really believe that.
There will, but if we go, we have, you don't want to be in a situation where we're going into North London derby 5 points behind. I don't think that's a good situation to be in. As much as there's still a chance, obviously we beat them, we make it 2 points, and then they'll have to. But the thing is,
it's not a good situation. Of course, it's not going in 5 points behind, but it's not like a completely dead situation where we can't claw that back, because we can with Arsenal's hard games. Arsenal are not playing well at the moment. They are just getting over the line in these games. They are, and I think that when they're going to come up against teams with actually things to play for, that are scrapping for their lives and fighting and being really aggressive, I think that they will drop points. I really believe that. I don't think that they're playing well enough to say that, they're going to win this game, they're going to keep winning.
They just keep getting over the line at the moment. They keep
playing a West Ham team who played a weak team yesterday. They played a Chelsea team that lay down for them pretty much, and a Man United side they got really unlucky. A Man United side that got really unlucky. So when you look at those 3 games, yes, they're getting over the line, and credit to them, because that's what you got to do at this stage of the season. But you've got to look at the games that they're playing.
One thing I would say in all 3 games, and to give them credit, is that in all 3 games they've played over the last, they haven't played that well, but they have been very good at seeing the game out. And they've done it very well over the past 3 games. And yeah, maybe you could argue they've been a bit lucky to have the lead, which so you could argue that in all 3 games. But I would say in the last 20 minutes or so, in those last 3 games they've barely conceded a chance. And that's impressive. You've got to give them credit for that.
Well, let's see what happens when it goes against them. Let's see what happens when they go 1-0 down. Because they haven't gone 1-0 down, and I think it'll be a very different game if they were to go 1-0 down, especially in the games that were just played as well.
They're very bad at going 1-0 down. I think only 1 game under Arteta at all in his whole tenure have they come back from going 1-0 down, and that was against Wolves not so long ago. They got very lucky in that game.
This race is not over, even if we lose to Liverpool this weekend. Even if we go into the derby 5 points behind, this race ain't over.
It's not over, but there's not a lot of control we have. I guess if we go 5 points behind into the derby and we beat them, we can just hope for a draw in one of their other games and overtake them on goal difference. Luckily, our goal difference is really strong that we can rely on that, and it might come down to that if they can, because I don't think it would be a good situation if we needed one of Everton or Newcastle to beat them, because I don't know if they'll lose either of those games, but if we can hope for a draw, that's something to cling on to. That's something to cling on to. But you never know. I think if we go and beat Liverpool on Saturday, then I'm really confident we're going to get that top 4 spot.
Yeah, obviously that's a massive, massive if. I mean, I can't see us going to Anfield and winning. I just can't see it.
We should have beaten them earlier in the season. We beat Man City away. Beat Man City twice.
They're a different team to earlier in the season in that particular game because
we beat Man City.
I know we beat Man City, and I've been saying...
We weren't lucky that game either.
I've been saying all week that the style of play that Liverpool play will play into our hands, but it's just about if we take our chances on the day, because we'll get chances. It's all about if we take our chances on the day, and at Anfield we very rarely do take our chances.
No. So the weird thing is at Anfield we actually always play well there every year. Yeah. But something, I don't know what it is, but we always get screwed. Every year we always go 1-0 up, and we always play really well, and we always miss a chance to go 2-0 up. It happens every year. It's mad. Yeah. And then 90th minute we'll concede the winner. Every time. It's happened about 4 or 5 times now. Yeah. That it's a bit ridiculous how that keeps happening.
I know. And that year when Wanyama scored that goal, I mean, Harry Kane misses a penalty and then he scores one, but he misses one 5 minutes before. And if he scores that, we probably win the game.
That was that one. Sissoko had a 1-on-1, blaze it over, then Alderweireld scored an own goal. Last season, Bergwijn 2 chances, and then Firmino scores in the 90th minute.
Even this year at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, how many chances did we have to win that game?
Yeah. And then there was that season as well where we go 1-0 up very early and Son rounds Alisson. He only hits the bar and then they get a late penalty and win the game. It happens every year at Anfield.
The problem is at this stage of the season, Anfield's going to be rocking. They're going for the title, and they're just I don't even think in the past couple of games they've even been that good. Against Everton, I didn't rate them that much. Against Villarreal, they were very good and solid and got the job done. And I don't think they're at their breathtaking best at the moment in the last couple of games.
Yeah. Obviously, then you just got over the line yesterday as well against Newcastle. Hopefully Newcastle can have a similar performance against Arsenal. So I reckon they might get something out of that game at St James's. But Liverpool, it's going to be, obviously we've got all week to talk about this game, but it's going to be so difficult to get something. But I think we can do it if we play like we did against Man City, and we probably will have in fact, we're going to have the same team out because Reguilon didn't play that game. Emerson also started, and it was the same team that played yesterday, wasn't it? Except for Lucas.
You're saying the same team that played yesterday is going to play at Liverpool, yeah. Apart from Lucas,
from Lucas, that played against. I'm saying that's the team that played against City,
right?
Because Sessegnon started that game, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sessegnon and Emerson, yeah.
And Emerson. So maybe, if we could have a very similar performance, which we played very well that game and we deserve to win that game. So maybe if we do that, you never know, we can spring a surprise. And it'll be very interesting to see if we do win that game, how Arsenal react to that.
So they play Sunday, do they?
Yeah, we play Saturday, they play Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think that on the face of it, Arsenal probably should beat Leeds and probably will beat Leeds, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, that game. I think Leeds have got to put in a big performance because they're scrapping for their lives.
I agree.
And you've got to say that in a lot of games for both teams come from now to the end of the season. Both of us have got teams that are playing for something. Liverpool fighting for the league, Arsenal fighting for top 4, Burnley fighting for relegation, and then Norwich will be down by the time we play them.
They're already down.
They got relegated this weekend, did they?
Did.
And then Arsenal's games, they got Leeds who are scrapping for their lives. They got us going for top 4. They got who's their game? Newcastle.
Everton.
I mean, they're not fighting for anything, but they're just playing well at the moment under Eddie Howe, under a new regime. And they'll have Everton last game of the season. Hopefully by then they'll still be scrapping for their lives.
I'm sure they will. They got a game in. They're 2 points behind with a game in hand. So they're definitely, I think, going to be in with a chance.
What I'm saying is both teams have got really big games from now to the end of the season, not just in terms of us, but in terms of their opposition as well. So I think that at this stage of the season, you can't predict these games. You just can't, because it's impossible to predict. You can't, who would have said Everton would have beaten Chelsea yesterday? You know what I mean? I mean, people might have said it, but at Goodison, yeah, fine. But you would say it's the same against Arsenal and Leeds. No one would have predicted Leeds to win, but they might get a result. they just might, because when you're scrapping for your life, something can happen.
It was just very demoralising to see Arsenal win yesterday. The thing is, as well, the annoying thing is, if we would have gotten that draw against Brighton, I wouldn't even have been that, like, we could have afforded to draw against Liverpool and it's still in our hands.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we didn't even get the point. That's why those points. Maybe that's what Conte was saying. Because if we go into that game against Liverpool only needing a draw as opposed to a win, it's a much better situation.
Of course. But look, we find ourselves in this situation that we're in right now, and we just got to take it game by game, like we say. I think we can still just concentrate on ourselves. Let's start off with the game this weekend against Liverpool and see where we go. Obviously, Arsenal are favourites for the top four now, and it looks as though for everyone that they're going to get it. But we can still get through. We can still get through via the back door. We can get a result. Maybe not at Anfield this weekend, but I think we can win our remaining 3 games of the season after that. And if we do, that'll put us in a good chance.
All right, let's see how it goes then. It's going to be a big end to the season, though, isn't it? It's going to be so many big games coming up. It's all still to be decided everywhere, isn't it? Except for Watford and Norwich, unfortunately, they're down. Apart from that, everything's still up in the air, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Big end to the season. I do feel like Man City probably will end up winning the league. I can't see
just
them.
one game to drop points.
I know, but I can't see them dropping points from now to the end of the season.
Never know.
You do never know, but I just can't see it. The relegation is interesting, really interesting.
Well, we're going to stop Liverpool's title charge anyway.
Exactly. But the relegation, I mean, who knows who's going to go down? I still think it's going to be Everton.
You reckon?
I mean, Everton are the ones actually playing the best out of the 3, potentially, but I don't know, man.
Well, Burnley, 3 wins on the trot.
Yeah.
But it's against Southampton, Wolves and Watford. Not the hardest games. Not the easiest game, sorry. Then you got Leeds. Leeds, man. Maybe Leeds are still... Who they got their last few games? They just lost 4-0. They got Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton and Brentford. 4 games, you could easily see them winning none of them.
Yeah. True.
The way Brighton are playing as well. Brighton have really hit form all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And Brentford are playing very well. And then the other 2 are Leeds and Chelsea and Arsenal.
That's why as well, Leeds are going to be looking at their fixtures and they just need to get as many points in each of those games as possible. And they're going to be absolutely scrapping for their lives, Leeds. And we know that they've got that aggressive edge to them. And we know that they can outrun opponents as well. So I got a feeling Leeds are might do this.
If Everton do need something on the last day of the season against Arsenal, the way they've been defending, they could definitely get something. It's just whether they'll score.
The way who've been, sorry?
The way
Everton against Arsenal, you
The
say?
way they've been defending at them like recently. Like if they need something on that last day, you never know.
Yep. And the same goes for us against Burnley as well. The same goes for us against Burnley. If Burnley come to Tottenham Stadium with a plan to stifle Harry Kane and pack the midfield and, play a low block or whatever, they can do us at Tottenham Stadium. They really can.
I'd much rather face Burnley at home than Everton at home, in my opinion.
I'm not too sure. I think I might rather face Everton. I think Burnley, the way they play their football, plays into more in their hands. I think we got the beating of Everton more than we do of Burnley. In terms of the way the both teams set up.
I reckon the way they're both playing at the moment. I think Everton obviously battered them 5-0 a few weeks ago, but I think they've changed a bit now under Lampard. They've gone a lot more pragmatic than they were. And actually, I know Burnley are playing well at the moment, but I think the way we play, I reckon would score goals against Burnley. And I reckon Everton right now, they've moved to a back 3, and they've just got better quality. They've got better players than Burnley. And I think when push comes to shove, I think the quality could tell. So I reckon I'd rather play Burnley, that's why.
Interesting. But anyway, let's move on. That is our match review that kind of swayed into a top 4 review. But actually, just before we do move on, with Chelsea losing yesterday, Arsenal only 3 points behind them. We're only 5 points behind them.
Yeah.
Is it a possibility?
I can't really see it. Their fixtures are not that difficult. I mean, I know they lost to Everton, but they got Wolves next, then Leeds, then Leicester, then Watford.
Wolves have lost 3 on the bounce now.
Yeah, Wolves at home, Leeds away, and then they got 2 home games to finish the season against Leicester and Watford. I mean, we're gonna need them to lose at least 3 of them probably. I don't know if I see 3 defeats there. And Because we're 6 points.
They're really
behind.
not playing well at the moment.
They're
though.
not playing well, but I think if they would have drawn instead of getting that last winner against West Ham last week, then I think the door might be open. But I think that win might have just sealed it for them.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on now. That is our match review of the 3-1 win against Leicester at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.